Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Now today we are going to discuss about the phenomena of light. Okay, you know that light is very important for us because through the light we are able to see the object in our surrounding. Okay, so without light, the life is like a darkness. Okay, so now here you can see that we can see the world through our eyes. Okay, us through the our sense of sight. However, we cannot see anything without the light. That is darkness. Okay. So it means without light, our life like a blind, okay, means darkness. We live in darkness. Okay. So when light fall upon or is emitted by object, our eyes detect the light and hence the object become visible to us. Here you can see that here, the light in the form of energy that propagate, that is stored in an object, and this object emit the light. This is called luminous object. Luminous object are those object which emit light of their own. Okay, so now the light is travel in the form of electromagnetic radiation in the form of wave. This is called transverse wave. Light always travel in transverse wave. Okay. So when the light reaches to our eyes, when the light reaches to our eyes, we are able to see, we are able to detect, we are able to see the object through our light sensitive cells, that is rod cells and cone cells. Okay. नाउ हियर यू कैन सी दैट आप देख चुके हैं कि कैसे हम लाइट हमारे यहाँ ट्रेवल करती है और कैसे हमारी आईज तक पहुंचती है ना हाउ यू आर एबल टू डिटेक्ट द ऑब्जेक्ट सो हियर we know that the light is a form of energy which is responsible for the sense of sight the human eyes once again light is a form of energy once again light is a form of energy which is responsible for the sense of sight in human. Okay, and light can be called as the radiation. Okay, that is emitted, reflected, or absorbed by the different object. Now, here the some activity through which we can detect the how light travel and how it is strike to the surface. कैसे light strike करती है? Now, suppose a mirror. Mirror is a glass having shiny surface. When light when light fall on mirror, it is reflected back. It is reflected back. Here we can see that light coming from the source, strike on the surface and get bounces back. Get bounces back. Okay. So once again, when light fall on mirror, it is reflected back. It means, hence, mirror change the direction of light that fall on it. Okay, here you can see that through the activity. Okay, we can also perform this activity at home. Suppose there's a mirror in our home and we have a torch. We have a torch. Suppose we have a torch and we strike this torch light on the mirror. It get bounces back. Okay. Now after that, we are going to understand the reflection. It means when the light strike on the mirror, it get bounces back. We need to understand it, what kind of phenomena is this is the reflection of light. This is a natural phenomena. This phenomena means it means reflection of light means when the light coming from the source. When the light coming from the source, this is called incident ray or incident light. Okay, we know that light always a collection of beam. Okay, or they travel in the form of rays. Okay, so here we can say that when the light coming from the source, okay, this is called incident ray. This is called incident ray. And here we can see that यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं एक लाइन ड्रॉ है. This is called imagine. This is called normal ray. This is called normal ray. Normally is an imaginary line drawn perpendicular to the surface for detection, for analysis the behavior of light. Okay, so now here you can see that light coming from the source and strike over here. The point where light strike is called point of incident. Okay, and after striking the light, it get bounces back. It get bounces back. It means light bounce back into its original medium. It coming from suppose air and bounces back again into the air. Okay. So this light after striking on the surface, it get bounces back. This is called reflected ray. Here incident ray, normal ray and reflected ray. Okay. So now here, see, here you can see that the incident ray form an angle. Incident ray form an angle with normal ray that is called angle of incident. Okay, and here on the next side you can see that reflected ray, the reflected ray form an angle. Reflected ray form an angle with normal ray is called angle of reflection. Okay. So here on the left hand side that's angle of incident and here angle of reflection. Okay. So this is the reflection of light. Okay. This picture show you that how light reflected. Okay. And now after that we will discuss one by one we are going to discuss the phenomena that is related to the reflection of light. First, incident ray. Okay. Now, incident ray. The ray of light that fall on the surface is called incident ray. Here, the ray of light fall on the surface is called incident ray. Next, and reflected ray. The ray of light that get reflected back. The ray of light that get reflected back. The ray of light get reflected back is called reflected ray. Now, next one. Normal. It is an imaginary line that drawn perpendicular to the reflecting surface. Once again, normally it is an imaginary line that drawn perpendicular. It is an imaginary line. It is an imaginary line which drawn perpendicular to the surface. Okay, point. Okay, at the point where light is strike, this point is called point of incident. This point is called point of incident. This is the point of incident where the light is strike. Now, after that, we have another phenomena, another information related to the reflection of light. That angle of incidence. Okay, angle of incidence. Okay, that make with normal. Here you can see that incident ray form an angle with incident ray form an angle with a normal that is called angle of incidence. Okay. Now next after that another okay angle of reflection. Angle of reflection. It is the angle that reflected the ray make with the normal for an incident is always on reflected ray. Okay, here you can see that this is the reflected ray. This is the reflected ray, and the an angle formed between reflected ray and normal that is called angle of reflection. Okay, angle of reflection, and here angle of incident. Okay. Now the first law of reflection, the first law of reflection, that is the angle of incidence, the angle of incident, the angle of incident, the angle of incident, and the angle of reflection always equal to each other. This is the main and key point. The angle of incident and the angle of reflection are always equal to each other. Okay. In other word, we can say that In other words, we can say that angle by which ray of light incident on a surface will always equal to the angle by which it is reflected back from the surface. Once again, the angle by which ray of light incident on surface will always equal to the angle by which it is reflected back from the surface. Okay, I hope that you are able to understand. Now we can see that we can represent. So first angle of incident always equal to the angle of reflection. One more point is here in first law of reflection. It means sorry, first law of reflection. Now the second law of reflection states that incident ray, reflected ray, and normal ray all lie in a same plane. Here you can see that incident ray, normal ray, and reflected ray all lie in a same plane, that is air. In air, all these three ray lie together at the point of incident. So I hope that you are able to understand how the light get reflected and how light get travel. Okay. So we will discuss the ray diagram in next video. Okay. I hope that you are able to understand. If there's any mistake, प्लीज अगर कोई मिस्टेक है कोई अगर इश्यूज हैं तो प्लीज मुझे कमेंट बॉक्स में जरूर कीजिएगा आई होप दैट मैं उसे करेक्ट कर पाऊँ ओके थैंक यू